become so skilled, so vigilant, so flat out fantastic at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed. You know, I figured this out early on in the show. I had read this quote from Dr. King, one of my favorite quotes from him that says, "Not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great because greatness is determined by service." And I literally I used that quote to help me shift the way I saw the platform of television. Instead of like, oh, I'm on TV, how do I use that platform as a platform of service?
Amen.
Is what I did, yeah.
Yeah, we know, and you did that pretty well too.
But when you think about growing and being empowered yourself, it is what you've been able to do for other people that leaves you the fullest.
Yes.
You know, I always feel that until you take your last breath, you're always growing, and that every experience that you encounter in your life, just all of you being together here today and being in a room with people who are like-minded, who share the same vision, all of that is so stimulating. You leave here and you feel like you can be better and do better. One of the things I tried to do all those years on the Oprah Show, sometimes people would criticize me because they felt that I didn't do enough for race or racism. But this is what I always understood, that for me, my role and my goal in life is to open people's hearts. That's what I do, is I try to tell stories that allow people to see themselves in the lives of other people. And for me, it was always more powerful and effective to do a show, for example, on single parents raising their children, and just on the panel of parents, to have a black father, and to show the photographs or images of that father putting his child to bed and reading a story at night. That to me is more powerful than doing a story on, let's talk about black fathers who are raising their children. Because the goal for me is to show that we are all more alike than different, and that in our humanity, in our ability to express our humanness, we are the same. So when you see a father putting his child to bed at night and reading stories, and that man is black, and you know that's what your husband does and that's what you do, you feel a sense of connection and humanity.
You know, I didn't want to be punch drunk in the ring, still trying to come up with what is the next thing, because over the years we became our own greatest competition. So when I first started, went national in 1986, every time there'd be another talk show, I'd be, Geraldo Rivera, what are we gonna do? And then I realized a couple of years in that you run your own race better than anybody. If you take the time to see what everybody else is doing, you lose your ground. And that I could be a better me than I could be anybody else, and so no need of trying to compare myself to other people.
So it is my intention to fulfill the dream of the Creator. It is my intention to live to the highest calling and be pressed to the mark of the highest calling that I have come to do. And when you can ask the Creator, ask that which made you you, what is your dream for me? I guarantee you, instead of you trying to define the dream, what is your dream for me? If you're able to lean into the dream that the universe and all the forces of light and love and power and grace, by all the names that we call God, has for you, nobody can touch you. Everything you try to do is already done. So when I figured that out, what I'm putting out is what's coming back. Let me get real clear about what it is I'm putting out. Real clear. So I read a book about 1989 called Seed of the Soul. And in that book, Gary Zukav talked about the laws of karma, of the laws of cause and effect, the third law of motion. And in that book, he talked about how your intention is always one with the law, meaning before you even think about a thing, you have an intention for the thing, and that the intention is going to determine the outcome. That's why the same people can go to the same church service and somebody walk down the aisle just to be seen to put some money in the church, and somebody else who just goes and just has a little bit to offer. The intention with which you give, the intention with which you serve determines the outcome. So when I figured that out, I went,
whoa, I changed everything I did on my show. I called in the producers and I said, from this day forward, I will no longer be speaking to the KKK. I will no longer be speaking to people who are fighting each other in a way that it is damaging to the character of myself and other people who watch. From this day forward, I am only going to do intentional television. Every single day, I would have a pre-show meeting and have the producers come in and state to me, what is your intention? How do we want to use whoever is on this show, whatever is happening on this show, to serve the audience in a way that fulfills the mission of uplifting, enlightening, encouraging, as well as entertaining? And if it doesn't do that, then I can't do it. I can't put my name on it.
Okay, so when you're saying I know who I am, and I'm telling you, it's the thread that runs through everything. It's the thing that allows you to stand in your own truth. And one of the things for years that Maya Angelou used to say to me is, baby, you need to know that you alone are enough. You alone are enough.
When I started the magazine, they said, you will not see a profit for at least the next 5 years. And we were profitable the first month, the second month, and have been since. And so I thought, oh, okay, those predictions, that's not really true. I had no idea how difficult it would be. However, I am really, there's an old spiritual that says, wouldn't take nothing from a journey. Now, I really was speaking to Stedman this morning. He was saying, it's a good thing that you went through that because you were living on the mountaintop for the past 25 years. You created this machine of the Oprah Show that it just felt like walking into, okay, here we go. So no struggle, no, just it had become easy for me to do. So to be in a position to build from scratch this network and to go through everybody thinking it was going to fail, and there were days when I had doubts myself, like I had to force myself to actually practice what I had preached for years about going inside, staying with the vision, having every step move you in the direction of the vision and trusting that, building the right team. One of the things I started to get around mid to late 90s is that everybody that I had on the show, at the end of the show, would say something to me like, was that okay? Was that okay? How was that? Was that okay? Right. At the end of the interview. And I started to then track it. It didn't matter if it was, I had gone and done a show where I was in a prison and I was interviewing a father who was in jail for life for murdering his twin daughters. And at the end of the interview, even behind bars, he said to me, is that okay? How'd I do? And Barack Obama said it when he sat in the chair the first time. And George Bush said it. Beyonce said it at the end of her, she taught me how to twerk and then said, is that okay?
So that's an acquired skill, do you think? Right?
Yes, the twerking thing. But this is what I learned sitting in that chair for 25 years. That at the end of the day, whether you are interviewing me or I get to interview you, whatever your profession is, wherever you are in your life, in your relationships, every person that you encounter, every experience, the person wants to know, was that okay? Was that okay? And what I started to hear was that what people are really saying is, did you hear me? Did you hear me? And did what I say mean anything to you? And so I started to listen with that in mind, with that intention of validating that you're being here, you're speaking to me, you're taking the time to do this with me is important because you matter. And that's true for everybody who's watching or listening, that every argument that you ever have, every encounter, the person just wants to know, did you hear me? Did you see me? And did I say anything that mattered?